Oh, YouTube. I think this is a YouTube video, actually. Look at me with my guyliner. I saw. I'm getting inspired by Ozzy Osbourne, who is doing one of his last concerts soon, I believe. So yeah, getting a bit more loud, Larry, more expressive than uh, than I, you know, than is humanly possible. Because why the fuck not? Be yourself. Don't be afraid of what other people think. You know what they say. Be true to who you are is what Jesse J would say. I had to for some reason. Okay, I'll go into the story very briefly, very quickly. So in the town that I live, story time. Get cozy. Um, there is a lady. There's a lady here who is an old witch, who has said some things that are not true. Now, this venom, this poison, uh, yeah, what she did was she took a narrative and a story about me and my life, and then run with that, and then did this Chinese whispers. It made my life fucking difficult for 2, 3 years, because people then start projecting these narratives onto you, stories onto you. They think certain things about you. And so when you meet them, they have this perceived idea that is not based in fucking truth. It actually was based on some really tender, painful spaces. Um, yeah, that were very difficult to navigate for me. Um, Kind of culminated in, I would say, maybe 10, 11 years of abuse, essentially, towards me from somebody much older. That made me doubt and question my sexuality and who I was. And yeah, this person kind of had control spaces, manipulation tactics, and wanted me to be small and in a space of codependency so that they could feel more powerful. And it took me a very long time to understand that and see that. Now, what then happened was, once I realized that, I lost my fucking shit, yeah? Because, first of all, I'm from Lewisham and I don't take no shit. Second of all, I couldn't believe that I hadn't seen that that was the case. The fact that when you have pain, you are susceptible to manipulation and you are vulnerable. You can have emotional blind spots. It took me a long time to see that and to see where it had come from. So I lost my shit because this person had essentially, psychologically abused me and taken advantage of my trauma. So I lost my shit. And really, the only time in my life that I've ever when I say beat the shit out of somebody, I kind of did, but yeah, I hit him because he fucking deserved it, actually. Um, so yeah, not to a point of you know this person being in extreme critical, needing intensive care, but just a scrap essentially is the way that it was. So this person, the lady, has family connections, is related to this man, shall we say, who I gave a lot of time to, a lot of energy to, tried to build up, and then the moment that I started to build myself up, this person didn't like it and was like, "Whoa!" and actually nearly fucked my life completely over and enjoyed me being in a very vulnerable space. And at that point, you go, "Whoa! All along, you have not had my back." It was a kick in the fucking teeth. Once again, I met this person when I was a drug addict, and uh, yeah, it benefited this person. They were a lot older than me. I look back and I'm like, I would never have done that with somebody that age who was in a vulnerable position. So not okay, not good. Anyway, so he knows this lady, the venom poison witch bitch, right? Who then has taken the fact that this event has happened and not told the whole story and just told the reaction. Now, this is what can happen, you know, after years of abuse, essentially, you know, somebody can have a reaction. Now, they're going to. And to take that snapshot of that action and to see why somebody is responding in a way that looks, you know, extreme, even though actually it wasn't that extreme, and then take that and spin it for your own narrative, not okay. And once again, not based completely in truth at all. And really impacted my life for a few years, you know. So I even had today in a cafe, there's a guy that is a drunk guy, and he, based on other people's gossip, is convinced that I have sexually abused women. When, you know, I would have identified as a gay man for 15 years of my life. And then I met the woman that I married and I had a daughter with, and that's very complicated at the moment, which I'm very open about because, once again, I'm an open book. I don't hide things. So I do believe that that's the person I'm meant to be spending my life with. I think that God is working, and I think that God has always been working. I think that there's intelligent design and divine perfection. You know, this is why I'm okay with. I work with so many people that you have to be clear on your own stuff so that you can work and see their stuff clearly. And I also see so much in these people's lives that God is working, that I understand it's working in my life too. But I don't profess to be this spiritual thing. You know, I've trained to be able to pass over information. I trained to do that. You know, it doesn't mean that I am outside of the human experience. Once again, I think people use spirituality to mask their trauma and to mask their pain and to run away with it and to not look at it. I've never been afraid to sit with my shadows, to sit with my darkness, to sit with my demons, because why the fuck would you not want to? You then don't get to have all of the wonderful joys and fruits of life because you are in your own way. So I have always been somebody who, listen, tell me, if I've got something in my fucking teeth, tell me. And if it's true, I'll hold my hands up and say it's true. If you're wrong, I'll say you're wrong. So I've been dealing with the fallout of this person's lies and gossip, who she did that to somebody else and ruined his life for 2 to 3 years. And he's a fucking awesome, cool guy. But she's just not a nice person. There's people that latch on to people's pain or their wounding, and they take it and they exasperate it to get their own stuff out of it. Vultures. It's the most nastiest, disgusting space ever. So, like I said, you know, this guy who is a drunk guy who I think is a bit of a liar in general, but anyway, you know, has, you know, said that I've sexually abused women based on this gossip. I've never been accused of that in my life. You know, it is impossible for one person to ever say that that is the case. I'd give you 10 million if you found somebody that would say that. Because once again, no evidence, no truth. No, it's not true. Fuck the evidence, not true. So yeah, but gossip and lies and slander and yeah, people's projections. You know, the same with Charlie, who fucking came here. You know, this is the issue with, you know, the fact that I went viral. Did I go viral? I don't know. Whatever. There was a video of me. It's got a lot of views. It's been an interesting space because I've had to navigate maintaining myself, maintaining my boundaries, whilst now different energies come in that have access to me that didn't previously have access to me. You know, had that session with her, and then which I told her all about the fact that, once again, I understand gender dysphoria, I understand issues with sexuality, I understand the issues between masculine and feminine energy because I have lived it and experienced it. So what's being reflected back at her is all of the things that are lacking and missing in her because she identifies as a they them and she cannot. She changed her name, so she's in that space. So I am reflecting back all of her things. So she tried to project and gaslight those things onto me, which once again, I saw these things, red flags that shouldn't have worked for her in the first place. Lesson for me, once again. But a door had opened because of this vital space. But it is interesting how people can swoop in like vultures and try to energetically take because of their pain. And we really have to be careful when people are doing this, especially if you're very, very sensitive. I didn't realize how, much people can, I might get emotional. But if you are freely expressive and if you are yourself, and if you shine your light, right, to sound like a fucking hippie wanker, you can really trigger people because you bring up all of the spaces in them that feel lack. And what they can do is they can attack it, or once again, like I said, they benefit from you being small because disempowering you gives them power. Fuck those people. Now, the thing that I will say is this, right? And if you got to the end of this video, wonderful. If you didn't, then you just got like a snapshot. But that's what people do. They take snapshots, they run away with it, even though the whole fucking thing there is in context. But I am somebody in general that is an open book. I will tell you everything. My friend Sam is starting a podcast. And I said to her the other day, Sam, there is nothing that you could ask me that I wouldn't tell you the answer to about my life. There's nothing. There's nothing that I feel the need to hide. I'm not ashamed of any piece or part of my journey because I understand it and I know my heart and I know where I've moved from and I am okay to look at myself in a very clear space, which is why I can sit and see people clearly in the work that I do. And there's a power when you own yourself in that way. Your story. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna take from me? Because I will sit there and talk about all of it in a public sphere. All of it. I will say this. I will say that. I'll hold my hands up. I'll go, yeah, this person said this, and I stood up in the middle of the street and called him a "see you next Tuesday" cunt. I will tell you that. I don't have what's the word? I don't have. Well, maybe I should have more of a filter. But I am okay with my life and my choices and my decisions. And once again, I don't want to hide from myself. So there's nothing that nobody can say or do. Because I will say it. I'll go into a public forum and say it. And once again, the truth rings true. The truth holds an energy of vibrations. So when somebody is saying something and they're lying, people know, they hear it, they feel it. The truth holds a vibration. So own your story, first of all. If people have lied or gossiped or slandered, or you've been a victim of people trying to gaslight you, or people's projections, or their fears, or their insecurities, I'm here to tell you, right? I really understand. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible thing to experience. I get it. And, to have that in a heightened space is awful. But trust your heart, know who you are, and if you need to stand up and roar and tell people to fuck off, do it. Because once again, what power do they have if it's not the truth? So that is that. If you want to work with me, KyleTreslove.com. If you want to give for these videos, you can PayPal at Kyle Treslove. I'm going to continue to be as open and honest on these vlogs as I possibly can because I think it's beneficial for people to see. And if you're interested, wonderful. If you're not, whatever, it doesn't matter. You don't need to watch. Don't tune into the channel. But I do like to use these spaces as a place to let everybody know where I'm at. So that you get to see and you get to know who I am. I posted a thing today saying, your business is your your face, and your branding is your logo is your name, or whatever. It's your personality, who you are is your work. So, and
that for me is, people need to see who I am, and what the reason people come to me is because I tell them the truth, and I care. So I will continue to keep doing that and being somebody who people can come to because they know that this person will, you know, they're going to tell it as it is because they're not trying to hide from themselves. So they're not going to let me hide from myself. That's the work and that's the service. And that is it. So remember, all is good, all is God, all is love. Until we connect again soon in a bit.